we are talking about vote percentages. Let me just take you through. Let me just tell you that in terms of vote percentages that are coming out, overall there is just a 2% vote share difference between NDA and Mahagathbandhan according to Access My India poll. That is a close contest. Let's just take it full screen. Let's just take it full screen, the entire poll of polls, the exit polls. Can we have that graphic full screen so that yes. So if you look at this, couple of things are very clear. Matriz, PMark and Polstat, they are giving very substantive numbers for NDA. NDA is ahead also in Access My India and Chanakya. But then if you look at the other data, it's 1 to 2%. Now coming back to it, Professor, I will reverse the question. Professor, I'll reverse the question. It's not as if that the 2% is unbridgeable. My question is, how come even in the poll, they're not being able to bridge that 2 to 3% despite this arrangement being in power for 20 years? Why is that unbridgeable? Is there limitation to the alignment which the Mahagathbandhan has built, that they can't cross the word, if I may borrow from the war repertoire, Rubicon?
Yeah. Kartika ji, I guess, my estimation is a bit different. I would wait to see, the eventual gap, in terms of the final results. From this, exit poll, Access My India poll, this 2% seems a little conservative. I mean, so my estimation, looking at, the way the vote percentage
is pretty liberal when it comes to seat.
No. I mean, like 2% is, quite enough, Prashant, enough to add at least 25 seats, statistically speaking. So it's still good enough. But if you look at, 2%, I mean, like in terms of what Karthik is referring to, social alignments, within the Gathbandhan, within the NDA, what things have happened, the chemistry part of the poll, if this chemistry, because I'm not able to say, the breakdown is not available before me in terms of rise of, I expect a rise of JDU. I mean, like, because from 43, if JDU rises, it also speaks, two things clearly. A, it also speaks how women have done the voting for JDU particularly, given the last mile welfare system that's working in favor of, JDU particularly, Nitish advantage, I call it. And secondly, also the social bloc consolidation. I mean, like if you look at largely my estimation speaks both in terms of, electoral and social, that men are more favorable, especially 35 up to, like 60 towards Mahagathbandhan. And then if you look at women particularly, women are more favorable, cutting across ages. There is no age barrier towards JDU particularly, but to what extent it translates into BJP vote, that has to be watched out for. That's my
okay. That's your take, Santosh. What's your take? Is it a dead heat, or the margins are going to increase? Now most of the poll numbers are out.
See, Karthike, NDA started with advantage of about 5% vote. I think.
Why do you say 5%, Santosh?
5%, yeah, I just explained. When Chirag Paswan and Upendra Kushwaha coming back to NDA fold, so Chirag Paswan polled 5.66% and Upendra Kushwaha 1.77%. If you just discount the 2% of Mukesh Sahani, that comes to advantage of 5% for NDA. So arithmetically, they start with advantage of 5% as against only 0.3% in the last election. It was that close. So we are not getting too much into number, but it was 5-party alliance versus 7-party alliance. A small player like IP Gupta from Indian Inclusive Party, and of course Mukesh Sahni of BIP, they have brought the battle closer. In terms of numbers, if you do not talk of any other narrative, when we talk of only social combination, my social combination to your social combination, still it is advantage NDA. We do not know how much it converts into the number of seats. Not sure. Say, it's very ironical. Chirag Paswan might not get very good number of seats for himself because he's up against some heavyweight player. Say in Maner constituency, his candidate is up against up against a strong candidate, Bhai Birinder. So he might not get a good number of seats for himself, but his convertibility, mutual convertibility would help NDA a great deal. I also agree with Asuni sir when he says, see, when Nitish Kumar was not projected as CM candidate, he was. Finally, Amit Shah had to say that there is no vacancy for CM post. Nitish Kumar is very much there. It somehow hurt BJP. Even if I do the seat-wise conclusion, in my conclusion itself, I find JDU doing better. Uh, so I would say Chirag, the earlier I used to say Prashant Kishore is my man of the match on losing side. But I would also add Chirag Paswan to the list of my man of the match after the election because he is bringing good number of votes to NDA poll. Yes.
Okay. 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 Vijesh?
See, I would say that the reason
you had a different view on the voting pattern?
I would say that, I mean, the devil lies in detail. If you go into Access My India, I mean, the numbers are there. Statistically, anything can happen. But if you look at the detailed projection which Access My India has given, I mean, the number of women voter, the difference is 5%. And the reason I'm quoting only Access My India is that their strike rate is almost 85%. They have been 85% right. So, you have to give them more credit than most of these pollsters who have not done or, gone by this seat by seat or like, one particular social combination versus another. A lot of unemployed youths, the first time voters, a vast majority chunk, they all have voted for, I mean, almost 49 to 50% have voted for RJD and Mahagathbandhan alliance. And it's not like, that any one particular sect has gone en masse and voted for the NDA. The second thing I would say is that one of the big reasons why Nitish Kumar's seats will see a fillip is that this time there is no internal sabotage, which was precipitated, started by LJP and by, broadly supported by Bharatiya Janata Party. That is the reason Nitish Kumar, despite all his popularity, despite all his schemes, despite everything, was cut to size. He was cut to size by 43. So, in a way, I agree with Santosh that in this election, Chirag Paswan will give his own bali to bolster the chances, but it'll be very interesting to see the political future of Chirag Paswan as to whether Nitish Kumar completely forgives him for the slight and insult he did in 2020.
Nikhil, I have a different question. Haryana, a lot of people said a better coordination, Congress would have been able to defeat BJP, in terms of FAP, in terms of candidates. If you look at the Rohtak-Sonipat belt, that entire area was lost because, Mr. Huda was fighting for his own people. He didn't take the party along. Do you think that a better coordination would have made these results or exit poll results look different with your own alliance partners? Because there is still, friendly fights happening in Bihar. Nikhil?
Karthikeya, certainly I think better coordination could have helped the India alliance and so could have helped the NDA alliance as well. Whenever you go into an election contest with an alliance, there will be differences. There will be cases when you'd be, haggling with your own partners. The difference between the NDA alliance and the India alliance is that the NDA alliance is in power at the center, it's in power in the state. There's a lot more that they can offer to their junior partners, to other people, to make them, to placate them. However, with the India alliance, they're neither in power in the state or in the center, which is why it is very difficult to placate the dissenting voices, which is why more of that, discord comes into fore, more of it actually pans out on the ground. So certainly if there could have been better coordination, it could have been better for the alliance.